My name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, February the 27th. So every once in a while you find a finding and you think, okay, that's really cool, but I have no idea what to do with this. And we have such findings in our store. And one of the findings that we carry that a lot of people ask about is called what we call a gear, or some people call it a sprocket. It's kind of a steampunk type finding because it's an industrial type finding, I guess I should say. But I worked and worked and worked and found out how I could wire wrap a Rivoli into this component. And it looked really, really fun and neat. It almost looks like a stenograph picture. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the stenographs, but basically you put a piece of paper down, you put this cool frame down, you put a pen or a pencil in the little thing, and as you rolled it around, it made these really cool geometric patterns on your paper. So to me, this is what the wire work is going to look like. So to do the project today, I'm going to be using 26 gauge non-tarnish artistic wire. I'm going to show you how to do 3 different sizes of these gears. And don't watch the first one and automatically know you how to make the second and third one, because all 3 are different counts and the second one is different just all together. And a lot of this was just trial and error on my part. So what I'm going to be using for the first one is I'm going to be using a 21 millimeter gear and a 14 millimeter Rivoli. Now you can also use a 12 millimeter Rivoli if you have that. It's going to take about 20 inches of my 26 gauge wire. The next size is a 29 millimeter gear with an 18 millimeter Rivoli. You're going to need about 36 inches of wire to complete that one. And then the third one, which is the largest one and my favorite one, I'm going to be using a 40 millimeter gear and a 27 millimeter Rivoli. And it's going to take 2 yards of the 26 gauge wire to do that one. Now, you can use bails to hang these with. You can use jump rings, whatever you have, to make these into a pendant. The smaller one you could do 2 and just make earrings out of, and they would be really pretty. The only other thing I'll tell you about this project is the wire that you'll be using. You can use a 24 or a 26 gauge. I would not go below a 26 because if you mess up and you try to take it out, that wire is going to break. So I would stay at 26 gauge is my preferred size to do this one on. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one I'm going to show you is using the 21 millimeter gear. So if you purchase those off of our website, this is a 2-pack for $1.90. And then I'm going to be using a rose peach Rivoli. Now, like I said, you're going to need the 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to use 20 inches of the wire. So let me go ahead and cut me some wire here while we're talking. Now, as I said, you can use a 12 or a 14 millimeter Rivoli to work on this specific piece. So to start out with, I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to stick it through either hole on the sprocket, and I'm going to leave about a 3-inch tail just to kind of hold on to. Now let me zoom in here just a little bit so maybe you can see it better. I'm going to go ahead and take this wire and I'm going to completely wrap it around one of the prongs, and it's going to be the prong right above the hole that I just went through with my little tail wire. As you work, you're going to hold the Rivoli into place. We're going to make a triangle with our wire. So you're going to count over 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the 6th one, you're going to wrap the wire around that little prong that's sticking out. Okay, then I'm going to turn it so it's a little bit easier for me to work around. And I'm going to count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to wrap it around that 6th prong there. Now, when you count over 6, you should come back exactly where you started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to wrap it right back around that very first prong again so that I have a triangular shape. Now it's very easy. This is where our Spirograph comes in. We're going to take and wrap the wire. We're going in this triangular shape, and we're going to wrap the wire. Each time we wrap it, we're going to wrap it the prong right before the last one that we did. So instead of wrapping it on the 6th prong, I'm going to wrap it on the 5th prong. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to wrap it, and then I'm going to turn it so that it's a little bit easier for me to wrap the wire. Okay, so this was the next one that I did, so I'm going to come to the one right before it and wrap that one. And then same thing, this was the one I started with. I'm going to come to the one before it and I'm going to wrap it. Okay, so this time we're going to go around and we're going to hit the 4th little prong that you wrap. So wrap around, and I'm keeping the tension as I wrap this very tight because this has to hold your piece in. And then each time you go around, I actually, if I was to do this the way I normally do this off camera, you guys would be like, what the heck is she doing? Because I've got to where I don't have to think about these now when I do them, and they go very quickly. You're just doing the same repetitive motion over and over and over. So, so now I'm back around. And I'm on this last go round, and I know that because I only have one more little peg one more little prong all the way around left. So I have filled up all the prongs along the edge here, and I'm going to take this last little bit of wire that I've got, and here I'm going to come here to the top, and I'm going to stick the wire through my little holes here. And when you pull the wire through, be careful not to get it kinked or anything like that. So that now you have this cool Spirograph pattern with your wire. Use your flat nose pliers and grab a hold of the 2 wires down here near the bottom. And you're going to take and you're going to wrap those wires. And you're just going to twist them together. And if you twist them too tightly, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with, it's going to break, basically. So you don't want to twist it too awful much. Now I'm going to come out. You can see here about how much I'm going to come out. And I'm going to clip that wire. So that now I'm going to take the flat nose pliers and I'm going to grab a hold of that little bit of twist that I have left, and I'm just going to kind of press it down so that way it's not going to scratch anybody when they wear it, and it's not going to stick out at the skin. So this is what the back of the piece will look like, and this is what the front of the piece will look like. So now if you wanted to, you could take and you could add a jump ring or a bell to connect the top loop to make a really pretty pendant, or like I said, you could do a pair of earrings. For the second one that we're going to do, this is my 29mm gear, and I'm going to be using an 18mm Rivoli. Again, the 29mm gears come in a 2-pack, so that when you lay this on top, you get a nice look here. So you're going to need 36 inches, which is a yard of your wire. And we're going to start it out differently. This is my, I guess I should say, least favorite of all of them. But it's funny because this is my most popular one that I sell in store. So I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to start out like I did before. I'm going to put the wire through the hole so that I have about 3 inches. And if you'll remember on the first one, we wrapped around the prong right above where our wire is. We're not going to do that on this one. You're going to come to the next prong and you're going to wrap the wire around the next prong there. Now I'm going to put the Rivoli in place, and I'm going to count over 8 this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to put a wrap right there. And then I'm going to turn it I'm going to count over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And wrap it around the 8th. And count over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this time it's going to be the one right before where my little tail wire is. So this one looks a little different from the first one that we did. But it's going to work essentially the same exact way. We're going to take and come down and wrap the prong right before the one that I started with. And I'm going to come down to the next side here, and we're going to wrap the prong around that one, and then turn it and wrap the prong around that one. And I'm just going to keep working around in the circle. Each time, just wrapping that prong right before the last one that I wrapped. And once you actually know the pattern and you work on it and get good at these, I can literally wrap one of these in less than a minute. I wrap it pretty quickly, and this is where the 26 gauge wire is so great, because as you're using the 26 gauge wire, it holds on to those little prongs really well, so that you don't have to worry about anything, them slipping off or anything like that. Okay, so I've gone all the way around now, and I know I've gone all the way around because every prong is full except for this top one right here that I started with. So from the last one that I do, I'm going to come up here to the top, and I'm going to wrap the wire around that top prong there. Then, holding that wire in place, I'm going to take the wire, my excess wire here, and I'm going to go through the little circle there right under it. And again, you'll want to be careful because you don't want to get this wire kinked. So as you pull it, be careful because you want to do that, but you also want to keep it inside of that hole. So now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the two wires and you're going to twist them together. Trim the wire, and then use your flat nose pliers to press that downward so that you don't have to worry about it. And again, you can add a bail or a jump ring to either hole so that now you have that one complete. So my favorite one is using the 27mm Rivoli. Now this one is more expensive to make because of the larger size Swarovski Rivoli that you're going to be using in this project, but it's my favorite one. And for it, I'm going to be using the 40mm gear. These are $1.50 and they come 1 to a pack. So let me. Now, for this specific one, it is the perfect size for the hole that you have here. So you have to be careful as you wrap to make sure that it doesn't get off to one side and that you keep it centered. Now you're going to need 2 yards of wire to do this one. So let me get my wire cut and we'll continue. So we're going to start the project out the same exact way. We're going to stick the wire through our little hole there and leave a little bit of a tail. But now, going back to this one, just like we did in the very beginning on the first one, we're going to wrap the wire across the prong that's right above our little circle there. And I'm going to put this Rivoli in place and count over 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to wrap it around that 10th prong. Then you're going to turn it, count over 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you're going to wrap it around that 10th prong. And then without even counting, I know that 10 is going to be back here to the top again. So I can wrap around that first prong so that it makes that triangle shape with the wire again. So at this point, all you have to do is we're going to work this just like we did the very first one. Take the wire and come to the prong right before the one you just wrapped and wrap it. And then turn it, come down, wrap it. Turn it, come down, wrap it. And you're making that triangular shape. The biggest thing with this project is if you mess up, you can pull it out to some extent. But if you try to pull this out, all of the wire, you might as well just cut you a brand new piece of wire and start over, because your wire is going to be so crinkled from being wrapped around these prongs that it's going to be hard to get it back straight. So if you mess up just a couple of prongs back, you can take it out to that point and it's not as noticeable. But if you try to take it out and start it completely over again, you'll see a big difference there in your wire. And this one, you can see why it takes a lot more wire, because there's more prongs and there's more surface to deal with. If you're not used to wire wrapping, this can kind of hurt the dexterity of your hands if you kind of sit down and start playing with it. So if you're not really used to it, you might have to stop and take a little bit of a break. So now I have the piece all the way around stenographed, and I'm going to take this last piece of wire that I have, and just like I did on the first piece and the second piece, you're just going to take the wire and you're going to run it through the little hole here at the top, being careful not to kink that wire whatsoever. And now take your two pieces of wire, hold them, and then twist them together. And then trim. And press that down so that it doesn't scratch. If you run your finger over it and it's scratchy, that means you've got to press it down further, okay? So now you can see the finished one with the 27mm Rivoli. So I want to show you what I did. Here's another sample with the 27, and I just took and I put a jump ring here opposite where my little fold was. So you can do that. This is the rose and this is the crystal. Here's another 18mm that I did. This is a powder gray Rivoli, and again you can see I just added a jump ring here on the loop so that it will hang as a nice pendant. Here's another 18 that I did. This is the vitriol. Yeah, this is the vitriol light in this one. And then here is the Scarabaeus green that I am just totally in love with. The cool thing about the Scarabaeus, or these smaller ones I was saying, is that you can wrap multiples of these and make a really pretty pair of earrings if you wanted cool earrings to go with your set. This is the Purple Haze and the Scarabaeus, and then the one I showed you today was the peachy rose color. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to wire wrap these funky gear bindings. We do have everything that you've seen today available on our new website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Hope you and your family have a blessed day, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.